gentlemen, we're live. What's happening, people? Good morning, Europe, and happy Monday, everyone. How you guys doing? I hope you had a nice weekend. I hope you're doing all right. Let me know how you're doing in the comments, guys. Feel free to type your questions, interact with me, and I'll do my best to help during these live broadcasts. Join us every day at the European Markets Open and the US Markets Open on your favorite media channel. Get the latest news about most traded financial assets. Learn what most Forex brokers don't want you to know and get rewarded for it. Don't forget to join us tomorrow morning, guys, for another round of Show Me the Money, where learning is rewarded and you might win an amazing prize. I have an iPad waiting for its owner, live trading accounts, one-on-one training with a reputable market analyst from London, and way more. You can find all the links in the description down below. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, and support us in delivering more great content on your favorite media channel. This show is proudly sponsored by our partners at Forex and Markets.com. Good morning, everyone. Here's what's happening in the markets today, 16th of November, 2020. Asian stocks hit record high as economy picks up. U.S. COVID-19 cases broke the 11 million mark yesterday. Gold futures rise on the back of a weak US dollar. Oil gains on the Asian session, but gains are capped by the 50 moving average. And Bitcoin, guys, the absolute champion, stands tall at $16,274. We start the week strong with more guests and more news. So don't forget to join us in the afternoon, guys, where we're going to have Neil Wilson, Chief Market Analyst at Markets.com, bringing us the latest news from the heart of London financial sector. Welcome to the European trading session, everyone, and let's have a look at the economic calendar for the day and see what news might give traders a bit of direction in this beautiful day. Let's start with the economic calendar, guys. We see, I told you a minute ago that the Chinese economy, the Asian economy is picking up. And there we go. You can see we had announcements after midnight, guys, on the Asian trading session coming from Japan and China. And you can see everything coming out green, or as consensus predicted. We had the industrial production on the Chinese yuan, guys, coming out way better than expected at 6.9% this morning versus an expectation of only 6.5%. We had the fixed asset investments for October, 1.8% versus an expectation of 1.6%. And the Chinese unemployment rate, guys, which came out as expected at 5.3% versus an expectation of 5.3%. and versus a previous of 5.4%. Now, we're going to have a few announcements in the Eurozone as well today, guys. We're going to start in 54 minutes, where we're going to see the Italian Consumer Price Index to be announced early in the morning. It's expected to come out on a positive 0.2%. As well as ECB, the Guinos will speak again in 54 minutes. So we start this week on Monday morning with an ECB press conference, followed by German president holding a press conference at 3 o'clock GMT plus 2. And in the same time, we're going to have the ECB president, Christine Lagarde, guys, opening the trading day with another press conference. In the afternoon, we're going to have a few announcements on the US dollar. Nothing spectacular, nothing really big expected today in the afternoon on the US front. Now, as I promised, we have a few interesting articles, guys. Let's go through them, and then we're going to move on to the charts of the day, and why not the signals of the day, guys. Let's see what is happening today on the European front. European stock markets are seen opening higher today as strong economic data from Japan and China fueled optimism of a global recovery, even despite the increasing strain of health systems in Europe and the US. At 2 a.m. Eastern Time, the DAX futures in Germany traded 0.6% higher. CAC 40 futures in France climbed 1.1%, and the FTSE 100 futures in the UK rose 0.4%. Japan's economy rebounded sharply in the third quarter, data showed today. It grew by 5% on the quarter, better than the 4.4% growth expected, and by an annualized 21.4%, pulling the world's third largest economy out of recession. Adding to the positive tone were better than expected industrial output numbers from China, as well as signs its important retail sector was recovering. A weekend trade deal also fosters hopes of a fueled recovery from the COVID shock for at least the Asia Pacific regional economy, with 15 Asia Pacific economies, including China and Japan, but not the United States, agreeing to reduce future tariffs. Very, very bold move, very good move made by these 15 Asian countries. Now, still, the COVID pandemic continues to cause pain throughout much of the Northern Hemisphere, with the number of COVID cases in the United States, for example, crossing the 11 million mark yesterday. Case numbers have risen by 2 million in only 2 weeks. Europe isn't doing any better, guys. In Europe, Germany must live with considerable restrictions against the spread of the COVID-19 for at least 4 to 5 months, the country's economy minister warned yesterday. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson is self-isolating after coming into contact with someone who tested positive for COVID-19. He had been admitted to intensive care earlier this year with the virus. Oil prices pushed higher today as traders look ahead to the upcoming meeting of the world's top producers for a further extension of supply curves to counter the hit to demand from the surging COVID infections. The Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries and their allies, including Russia, also known as OPEC Plus, has been cutting production by about 7.7 million barrels per day to support prices. It had planned to also increase output by 2 million barrels per day from January, but this move is increasingly seen as unlikely to happen. OPEC Plus is due to hold a ministerial committee meeting on Tuesday, which could recommend changes to production quotas when all the ministers meet on November 30 and December 1st. In other news, U.S. crude futures traded 1.4% higher at $40.70 a barrel, while the international benchmark Brent contract rose 1.2% to $43.28. Elsewhere, gold futures fell 0.1% to $18.85 an ounce, while the euro-US dollar traded 0.2% higher at $1.1850. This is what's happening on the European front, guys. Asian equities hit record highs on Monday as investors set aside fears about rising COVID cases and bought stocks, cheered by data showing robust recovery in China and Japan. MSCI's broadest index of Asia Pacific shares outside Japan gained 1.1% to hit its highest since its launch in 1987, with markets across the region making milestone peaks. Very interesting what's happening now. Not a good news, but we have to address this news, guys, as it's regarding the United States and the COVID cases. Unfortunately, the number of COVID cases in the U.S. crossed the 11 million mark yesterday, reaching yet another grim milestone, according to a Reuters tally, as the third wave of COVID-19 infections surged across the country. Reuters data shows the pace of the pandemic in the U.S. has quickened, with 1 million more new cases from just 8 days ago when it hit the 10 million threshold, making it the fastest since the pandemic began. This compares with 10 days. It looked to get from 9 to 10 billion, and 16 days it took to reach 9 million from 8 million cases. The United States, hardest hit by the COVID, crossed 10 million COVID-19 cases on November 8th and is reporting over 100,000 cases daily for the past 11 days straight. The latest 7-day average shows the United States is reporting more than 144,000 daily cases and 1,120 daily deaths, the highest for any country in the world. Texas and California have reported the highest number of COVID-19 infections across the United States, together accounting for about 2.1 million cases, or about 19% of the total cases since the pandemic began, according to Reuters analysts. Wow, it's very, very bad what's happening, guys. It's very, very bad what's happening in the States. It's bad what's happening in Europe. And in the middle of this pandemic, we have one world economy which seems to be recovering faster than everyone else, and that is the Chinese economy. Now, I promised you we're going to go on to the charts, guys, and we're going to do that in exactly 30 seconds from now. So stay tuned. We're coming back with the charts of the day.
Keep your finger on the market pulse with the News Alerts tool. Stay up to date on the latest sentiment across all the major asset classes. Uncover bullish or bearish signals tied to specific assets that could be developing before major price moves, and track how news sentiment correlated with price in the past. Track the news volume on an asset, its fear index, and get a better feel for its underlying strength. All with News Alerts, your central hub for market information. That's higher trading from MarketsX.
And we are back with the charts of the day, guys. We're going to start the chart analysis as usual with crude oil WTI futures, guys, which 12 minutes, 13 minutes into the European opening today is trading at $41.16. It seemed to be capped by the 50 moving average a few minutes ago. It seemed to get stuck there, and it showed a potential turnaround. But as we got closer to the European opening, we saw crude oil futures pushing higher through the 41 level mark. And by the looks of it, they are aiming for the 42.12 as the first take profit level in case you decide to go for a long position this morning. RSI stochastic at the bottom are showing a bit of buying power. They just entered the overbought levels. However, this doesn't mean the price is set to come down. We might see the price pushing higher, as I said a minute ago, towards the 42 level, guys. 41.50 or the 42 level would be eyed today, looking at the technical analysis. Let's move on to Euro USD, guys, the most liquid, the most traded currency pair in the world. This morning is trading at 118.58 on investing.com, well supported by the 50 and the 200 moving average, with the RSI and the stochastic trading very, very high in the overbought levels, and by the looks of it, pushing higher. If the euro will continue this direction today, we're going to see targeting the 119 level, 119.04, where the previous high is. That's where most traders will very likely set their first take profit targets in case they decide to go long on the euro. Now, let's not forget the euro might turn around, guys, and test the 50 moving average at 118.25. Okay, judging by RSI and stochastic crawling into the overbought levels. But let's see what the markets will do. On the back of a weak dollar, guys, we might see the European currencies pushing a bit higher. Right, looking at the cable, guys, the pound GBP USD pair is currently trading at 132.32. 15 minutes into the European opening, we saw a positive opening, RSI stochastic, again, in the overbought levels, pushing higher by the looks of it. We might see the pound pushing higher today, targeting the 132.82 level, as that's the previous high. And probably that's where traders will set their first take profit levels. Moving on to USD JPY, which opened on a negative side today, guys. Currently trading at 104.43 with the RSI and stochastic, pointing downwards and crawling into the oversold levels. We see a dead cross to be formed between the 50 and the 200 moving average on a 1 hour chart on USD JPY. Let's see what's going to happen. If the downturn will continue today, we're probably going to see the USD JPY pair targeting the 104 mark or even lower than that. So very, very likely that's where traders will set their first take profit levels if they decide to go short on the US dollar versus the Japanese yen this morning. Let's move on to the CAD, guys, to the Aussie dollar. Aussie dollar, US dollar on a 60-minute chart. Currently trading at 0.7303. Great potential for the upside for the Aussie dollar on the back of a weak dollar. Probably targeting the 0.7338 level on a 1 hour chart. RSI stochastic in the overbought levels still pointing upwards. They might still push the Aussie dollar higher today, guys. There is a chance for that. USD Canadian, again, negative opening this morning for the USD CAD that moved below the 200 MA on a 1 hour chart, currently trading at 130.98 with the RSI and stochastic pushing downwards in the oversold levels. There is potential to the downside today for the US dollar, guys, with not a lot of announcements expected from the US front in the economic calendar, and quite a few announcements in the economic calendar for the Eurozone today. Yeah, let's remember the German president press conference and Christine Lagarde, the ECB president, that will start this afternoon. On Friday, guys, we saw the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones closing higher. Yeah, these are the charts. It bounced off the 50 moving average it closed higher. Let's see, will they open higher today? There's the chart for the Dow Jones as well. Very good rally on Friday for the Dow Jones. Everyone is probably expecting a higher opening today. The dollar index, guys, there we go, is currently trading low, very, very low at 92,495 on a 1 hour chart. Well below the 200 and the 50 MA, with the RSI and the stochastic way, way in the oversold levels. We might see a bit of a correction, guys. We might see a tiny, tiny correction on the US dollar after opening today. But in case we don't see the correction, then probably traders will set their take profits for short positions at 92,182, somewhere there in the lower side. Gold futures, guys, are finally trading higher at 18.90 and 70 cents this morning. Apparently testing the 200 MA and looking to settle higher. They are well supported by the 50 moving average that comes from below. We might see a gold cross being formed. Then if that's the case, then we will probably see gold targeting higher, guys, somewhere around, looking towards the left-hand side, 1916. There is an opportunity. There is a bit of a potential for the upside for gold today on the back of a weak dollar. Let's remember, guys, looking towards the left-hand side, gold shed over $60 last week in only a few hours. And a lot of people, a lot of traders are aiming to buy the dip, guys. They're aiming to place a buy position on the recovery of gold price. Let's see what's going to happen today. We're going to look at trading signals in just a second. Brent oil futures, or the UK oil, guys, is currently trading at $43.70. Positive opening this morning on oil futures. In this case, probably traders will eye the 44.39 level as the first take profit level for the upside. There is potential to the downside as well, guys. Let's not forget. And if that's the case, then probably traders will set their take profits for a short position at 42.62. But looking at technical analysis, looking at how oversupplied the markets are, there is more potential to the upside today than to the downside. I'd say 55-45 for the upside. But again, this does not imply investment advice, guys. All right, let's see what the analysts think in a minute and what the charts will do. Now, Bitcoin, everyone's favorite in the last 10 days or so, is currently standing tall at $16,252. By the looks of it, positive opening today, pushing higher, guys. If that's the case, probably short-term traders will aim the 16,428 level, about $200 higher than the current market price. There is great potential for Bitcoin to reach the 17,000. We're only $700 away. We saw Bitcoin pushing through the roof last week, gaining over $2,000, over $3,000 in only a couple of days. So the $700 that we expect now, the ones of us that obviously go long on Bitcoin is nothing in comparison to what Bitcoin can do. Now, let's have a quick look at some trading signals, guys. Let's see how the analysts at investing.com see the markets today, guys. We're looking at FTSE 100 futures 20 minutes into the European trading session. On a strong sell on a 5-minute chart, we see a lot of red after the opening on a 5-minute chart for FTSE 100, CAC 40, and the DAX. Right, the daily remains a strong buy. We still have no news on the 15 minutes and the hourly charts. It's probably too soon to tell. The markets will settle, guys. Remember, it's only Monday morning. It's going to take a bit of time, probably 45 minutes to an hour. But the markets will settle, giving the traders a direction for the day. Right, let's see commodities, guys. Maybe we can give you a better hint on commodities. Right, we're looking at gold futures, strong buy on 3 time frames, half an hour, 21 minutes into the European opening. Silver futures, buy on a 5-minute chart, neutral on a 15-minute chart, and the hourly and the daily still remain a strong buy. We might see the dollar falling today, guys. We might see the dollar falling, pushing gold and silver and the European currencies higher. Copper, strong sell on a 5-minute chart after the European opening, but the hourly and the daily remain a buy. Crude oil WTI and Brent oil, finally some clear indication. Strong buy on all 4 time frames for crude oil WTI as well as Brent oil. Natural gas, Undecided. Strong buy and buy on small time frames, on a low time frame. Strong sell and sell for the daily and the hourly. And US wheat, guys, apparently turned around from last week, indicating a strong sell on all 4 time frames. So, looking at these trading signals, guys, from what we see right now, gold and silver, according to investing.com, have a strong buy position. They are expected to do better today after the European opening. Crude oil, WTI, and Brent oil, strong buy positions on all 4 time frames. Again, oil is expected to trade slightly higher today. And US wheat, strong sell on 4 time frames. Let's have a quick look at Forex, guys. Let's see what the European currencies and mostly the US dollar is expected to do today after the markets open. Half an hour into the European Open, guys. Euro US dollar, strong buy on all 4 time frames. So is the cable, GBP USD, stuck in a strong buy on all 4 time frames. So European currencies, at least as things stand right now, are set to strengthen a bit against the US dollar. USD JPY and USD CHF, strong buy positions, at least on 3 time frames. The Aussie dollar, strong buy on all 4 time frames. USD CAD, strong sell. And Euro GBP, guys, strong sell on all 4 time frames. This is what is happening now, guys, half an hour into the European trading session. But don't forget, it's only Monday. Markets need a bit of time to settle. There's quite a few announcements in the economic calendar in the Eurozone today. We're going to have Christine Lagarde speaking. We're going to have the German president, guys. Germany announced they might extend the lockdown into the new year if the cases don't improve. This is what's happening on the markets this morning, guys. Join me in the afternoon where we're going to have Neil Wilson, Chief Market Analyst at markets.com, bringing us more news from the heart of London financial sector. Right. Okay. Questions. Some people asking me, what's my background? Only 10 years in the financial markets, guys. For the last 10 years, I've worked in many retail and institutional Forex brokerages in Europe. I've worked in London for about 3 years. And for the last 7 years, I'm working with other European Forex companies. If you want to find out more about my background, check instructfx.com, check my LinkedIn profile, and hopefully you're going to get more answers. But even more importantly, join me every day, twice a day for European markets open, US markets open, and find out the latest market movements and the latest trading signals. See you in the afternoon, guys. Until then, remember to trade responsibly and all your trades be in the money.